right, there we go. This is a case of many renters. Basically what happened was they have this sort of special housing that they went into. And in this special housing, although it is definitely on the cheaper side to allow them to be able to afford living there on their budget, it seems like the landlords are having some trouble. Or I shouldn't say the tenants are having trouble with the landlords. They often feel like the landlords do not take care of their end of the deal. They don't fix things either in time or at all. They ignore the tenants, and even they try to get as much money out of the tenants as possible. Now, this sort of situation seems to be quite newer, or at least novel, maybe a bit shocking in Korea, to the point where it is now newsworthy. And so I think it's a sort of battle between tenants and landlords that is kind of entering into new territory. They kind of feel like they are at the landlord's mercy, and they're looking for ways to get out from under their thumb. Yeah. Yes.
I have to say, reading this article reminded me of every landlord I have ever had in the UK. Some worse than others, but all extremely difficult. And I think most of them felt ready to manipulate the law even to make as much money as possible from tenants and do as little work as possible for the tenants. So unfortunately, I'm sad to say this is very common in the UK.
Yeah. I had a lucky time with one lady. However, most of my experiences have been in the US, have been quite negative. One of them not only took our entire security deposit, which is normal. They always tried to take the 100% of the security deposit. However, they tried to get us to pay even more money for damages that were non-existent. They're like, oh, this damage happened. Like, this was not only already there, but the other damage they said was there was not even there. It was just complete lie. Oh, that company.
Oh, goodness. Did you end up taking them to court?
We ignored them, and they never followed up on it.
I see.
So I think it was kind of like a game of chicken.
I see, I see. They were hoping you would just crumble and pay up.
And they threatened us, and we just ignored it and moved on with our lives, and we've never heard from them again.
I guess I might have done the same if left to my own devices, but when it happened to me, a landlord, again, claimed damage had been done to the property when it was nothing more than normal wear and tear. And refused to give the deposit back. And my neighbour was also moving out at the same time. I knew her quite well. She was a student. But she had just finished her PhD, so she had a lot of time on her hands, and she decided to do a little research into the law. And she discovered that, in fact, they had no right to take our security deposit. And she managed to find out through the free sort of legal services that are available to people in the UK that we could take them to court. And we did. And we were granted, yes, we were correct. It was only normal wear and tear, and the landlord had no right to take our deposit.
Wow.
So I was very pleased with that.
Yes. Did the landlord also have to pay for their side of the legal fees?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Man, I love justice sometimes.
Yes.
Oh, that must have felt so good.
Very satisfying, yes. It was a very long and very complicated process, though. So I figured out that this is what the landlords rely on. They assume that most tenants will not have the time or the perseverance to go through this long and complex process. Most people will give up and let them take the security deposit.
Yeah, which, like you said, if left to your own devices, you probably would have. There seems to be a normal sort of disagreement between landlords and renters. Do you think that this can be avoided?
Decent contracts will help, and contracts where every detail is spelled out. Hopefully that could avoid this kind of conflict. I think part of the problem was that wear and tear was undefined in the contract itself, so then we had to rely on the legal definition of it, which I think a lot of people don't know. So know your rights, know your contract inside and out, check it, triple check it before you sign it. Hopefully that might be the best way.
Wow. Sounds like you've had this all put together.
Certainly
put
what
together.
I do these days, yeah. Although, having said that, I've had nothing but great experiences with Korean landlords and landladies. They have gone above and beyond, I would say, the contract from my experience here in Korea. So good job, guys.
Yeah, I've had no problems either. I mean, I've had, people who ignore me, which is fine, and then people who don't ignore me, which is also fine. But they've always been quite helpful, even fixing things before I even ask. Like, hey, we had a problem with some water stuff in this other apartment, and we're just going to check yours. It's like, great, have at it. Yeah.
Responsible landlordship.
Would you want to be a landlord? What would be like the most stressful thing?
I was teaching this article and a lovely lady told me about her experiences of being a landlady to a small group of apartments that she used to own. And she said it was such a nightmare. There was the tenants they were all students, and they often treated her a bit like the hotel concierge, calling her all hours of the night, expecting tiny things to be arranged, making a huge mess in the trash area and refusing to pick it up, blaming other people. She said it was awful, and she was very happy to get out of the game. So that put me right off.
Yeah. If I was doing any landlording, it might be to businesses rather than individual people.
I imagine that's better.
And again, the contract. Well, let's go ahead and learn those words, get them permanently stuck in our brains, and use them whenever we can. And we will see you in the next article. Bye.
Landlord.
Landlord.
Trash.
Trash.
Concierge.
Concierge.
Evict.
Evict.
Wear and tear.
Wear and tear.